Hey Gemini, this is wishkotheferret. Thanks for hopping into the ferret den where we're keeping things warm and we're keeping things cozy. Today we have a reading for you for May 15th to the 21st. We have a new moon in Taurus coming up on the 19th or somewhere around that time frame depending on what your time zone is. So definitely look into that if you want to play off the energies that are happening in our astrology right now. I said my centering prayer before this video started, so as always for you, drop into your heart space. Let the dust spiritually, physically, emotionally settle around and within you so that you can determine which messages are for you and which messages are for others. And we're just going to hop right in. As always, I'm thanking Archangel Michael, my spirit team, and my angel guides for keeping me safe and protected and for helping me channel energy directly for Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, or anyone who happens to want to connect with the Gemini energy at this time. Hello. I'm hearing there's trouble, so perhaps this is trouble that has been reflected on you from the outside, so your external circumstances are very troubling to you, or there's something within that's stirring up that is causing a lot of trouble. But Five of Wands here is the card of internal conflict. So it wouldn't surprise me if there is some internal conflict here, but it's also battling it out too. In this particular deck, Tarot of Dragons, this is battling it out with other forces as well. So this could be an external circumstance that you're dealing with this week. And if by the time that you're watching this video, like that should be something that you're already familiar with. But timing can vary depending on the individual. But this is something that you should be able to feel intuitively, that like instead of calling it to your attention, it should be something that has already been called to your attention before this reading. So I'm hearing something about it being, because I have a weird, it's not a weird belief, but I have the belief that nothing is set in stone, but Spirit is saying something is set in stone. So whatever this is happening right now, perhaps it was divined in your soul plan, and something like this was bound to occur eventually, but it was meant to push you forward. And I'll get to why I think that in a second. We have Ace of Wands here. So Ace of Wands is, I just hear like the word relentless. So the Ace of Wands, the wand suit does carry an energy of fire, determination, willpower, creativity, and this card is like the belly of all of those traits in one. Like this, it holds everything. So for the Ace of Wands coming out in your reading now, it's saying that something in you, a new idea, a new creative pursuit, something is trying to come out. Whether you want it to or not, I don't know why for some of you I feel like it's something that's been repressed for a while, but the Ace of Wands, perhaps this is what you're in conflict with, is whether to bring it to your reality or to keep it locked within. You have the choice, of course, you always have the choice, but Spirit is encouraging you to kind of go along with it, because at the head of your reading is the Six of Swords, which is why I say that this inner conflict is meant to promote movement. The Six of Swords being the focal point of your reading indicates a move forward. So regardless of where you're moving, you know you're putting one foot in front of the other. You don't know, I'm hearing that you don't have a set destination in mind, or perhaps the pathway might not be clear to where you want to go. But Spirit is saying that the important thing now is movement. Some energy that you could find yourself in this week. So we do have like the Devil card coming up. The Devil card is not as scary of a card as it seems. This just indicates everyday obstacles that we could be facing in terms of ourselves, how we're holding ourselves back, how perhaps in certain situations we may feel controlled, or perhaps we are the ones trying to control everything else in our lives. And it does feel like there is some inner work to be done in order to work through this shadow energy. And we always deal with like devil energies, like the Devil card, And I don't mean devil in terms of like Satan. I mean like in terms of the card itself. It's not that scary of a card, like I said, because we are always undergoing the process of change and transformation. Because if we're moving forward and we already have like the Five of Wands conflict, it does not surprise me that the Devil card is coming out right now. But that's just showing that, like, you know, you're fighting yourself for a reason. That means that something's not in alignment, or that something needs to change, because in order to move forward and change, we need to change ourselves, and that's not always the easiest thing to do. We often, like, why weren't we moving to begin with? Probably because we have set beliefs that are keeping us in place. So perhaps this is a time for you to really determine which beliefs are serving you in your growth forward and which beliefs are no longer serving you, so that you can work through trying to change that, work through I just heard like cognition, so it's probably the way that you're navigating your mind. Perhaps you're saying the same words to yourself or the same phrases. Perhaps you have certain feelings that are coming up whenever inspiration does strike, when you think that like you're trying to come up with reasons why you can't pursue a certain idea or do a certain thing, and Spirit is kind of saying like, bring awareness, like bring your attention towards these specific moments so that you can actively overwrite them and try to reprogram your mind basically and change them, okay? Because that's going to help you move forward. That's going to help you with that Six of Swords energy of, you know, keep moving on your path, because you're going to move regardless of like where you think you're going to go, and regardless of whether you do the work or not, change is imminent. Basically. So you want it to be the best change possible for you. I mean, I feel like any change for whatever reason in this energy, I feel like whatever this change is that's happening in your life, I feel like it's going to be good no matter where you go. It's change that is necessary, that needed to happen, and it will take you to greener pastures, but it's almost like it's up to you whether you take smaller strides or bigger strides to where you want to be. And to make the best use of this energy now, I would say try your best to work through that devil energy and try to rewrite your subconscious and your mind, even your conscious mind, to believe that you can take those steps forward, because Spirit's saying you can. This is like your calling card. This reading right now is your calling card saying that you can achieve the success that you're looking for and the things that you desire, but you really just need to work on believing it is so that you can help attract more opportunities and manifest better things for yourself, okay? So I'm hearing something about like limited too, so perhaps you felt limited with your options. Perhaps you felt, but like it's the belief, and it like there's like a very physical way I can describe this. If someone believes that their purpose in life is to pursue, I don't know, like being a policeman or something, and they go and they go to the police academy, they do all the work and blah, 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 and then they're in the police force for a few years, and they're like, okay, well, this is where I'm meant to be. Everybody in my family has been here, so this is where I'm supposed to be, but it doesn't quite resonate with you. And perhaps that belief is stopping you from seeing the other opportunities. Maybe you want to be an artist or a writer or something, and you're seeing opportunities. Perhaps you want, like in the job search, you wouldn't be looking for things that aren't really specifically related to police academy or like your police experience if you wanted to get out of that job. So it's just a matter of like quite the physical example, yes, of I'm actively not looking in places that opportunity could reside because I believe that this path is set for me, or that I'm stuck with these options when really I have more. And it has a spiritual meaning too, of like, there is a spiritual thing going on where Spirit can't really hand you opportunities if you are not physically receptive to it, and if your energy spiritually is not receptive to that, because it blocks that flow of ideas if the options aren't open. So sometimes the inspiration always finds a way to leak through, so there is always opportunity to think differently. Like there's always inspiration there to be inspired towards change. It's just a matter of, you know, turning your attention towards the possibility of change and opening up your mind to it. You have the King of Wands. I say King of Wands. It's called the Sire of Wands in this deck. And I'm hearing from the universe that you need to keep score. This isn't keeping score in terms of like you between other people. I feel like this is keeping score with yourself, and this is recognizing your achievements thus far. That is the important thing, because you'll find that I'm hearing that perhaps like because I'm hearing something about a terribly unbalanced life. Balance is a myth. I just heard someone say I agree with that statement. So I feel like I have different spiritual energies talking to me here, like different guides or something. But they are saying that you need to look back at your accomplishments and your achievements, everything that has happened to you thus far, and everything that you've surmounted, everything that you've overcome, because that in itself, you find that your score, or whatever it is that they're calling, because like they're saying keeping score, but I feel like it's less of like, here are like the things that I messed up. But I feel like there you have so many more achievements and accomplishments, and you've spread so much more light than you've realized up until this point. And keeping track of those things, you actually, spirits, like, you need to hold yourself to a higher esteem. And that's actually going to help you with this expanding that I'm seeing on the Astra dice here. Because I rolled Jupiter, Libra, and the 5th house for you. And essentially, 5th house is the house of your passions. Libra is a balancing energy here, and Jupiter is the planet of expansion and optimism. So I feel like really totaling up all of your achievements, the stuff that makes you feel good and the stuff that you've done basically that makes you feel powerful, because you've done many things in your life, I'm hearing, that have put you in a position of power. Like for yourself, it's felt very empowering to pursue certain goals or to do certain things. And, you know, you might not be accomplished in the traditional societal sense, but you feel accomplished because these were challenges that you have surmounted, either in your spiritual growth or challenges that you've, achievements that you have gained from the physical as well, despite various obstacles that were in your path, whereas other people would have given up, you didn't. Okay, so totaling that is going to help you expand your optimism and just the expansion energy in general. I feel like you will achieve more balance actually if you pursue these passions, because the fact that your life is unbalanced, it's not like it's hard to explain the definition of balance in a spiritual sense, because I find that oftentimes, like, when the balance card shows up in a reading, it's usually because somebody is lacking in a particular area. And by lacking, I mean they have been paying more attention to one area of their life than the other. So, but quite literally, like, if you find yourself starving for social interaction, you find that you haven't hung out with your friends in a while, or you haven't visited your family in a while, you're like, oh, like, I really, really want to hang out with someone right now, but I haven't been and you realize you haven't seen anybody in months. Like, that's, first of all, that's me. Second of all, I can understand that energy, and that's oftentimes what we find that we're doing. Or if we haven't paid attention to our dreams, for instance, if we haven't paid attention to our dreams and we find that we are neglecting certain parts of that throughout our day in favor of other things, then that also is a telltale sign. Like, the starving need to do something is usually a telltale sign that we need to add more of that to our life, because one's amount of social interaction time does not equate another person's amount of social interaction time that they would need to feel fulfilled. So you kind of need to measure your own needs bar in the different sectors of your life so that you can determine how, like, so you can try to get them all as filled as possible or as balanced as possible, and hopefully achieve like a better state with all of them. So you have, for your main theme, we're getting into your oracle cards now. So your main theme is Hollow Bone Teachability. This card always gives people grief when I pull it. But I think this is a truly beautiful card because it indicates that you, like, Spirit's asking you to be like a hollow bone, almost like a flute. They're asking you to kind of be the flute and then let the information come through you, let the lessons of life come through you, because you are basically an instrument of the divine. Okay, this doesn't mean that things happen to you, but that things are being fed through you. So allow that information to move through you and allow yourself to be teachable. Allow your inner awareness to shift and bring awareness to some of the things that you are being taught at this moment in time spiritually. So whether it's lessons from a breakup, whether it's lessons from moving away from like a job, or like even like analyzing our behaviors and stuff and trying to figure out how we feel certain things around different people and, you know, the different karmic patterns that can be involved with that. It's not as specific. These are just examples that I'm showering you with here. But it does feel like Spirit is asking you to not be so stubborn and to, if there's something coming up from within you that you need to take note of and start integrating into your soul, into your conscious awareness, then Spirit's saying, like, you know, take the time, do what you have to do. If you have to sit in meditation to do it, if you have to go out for a walk in nature, if you have to, whatever you do to get in the zone and to get recentered. For some people, that's digging their hands into a tub of soil like me, and for others, it's you know, if they have the resources and if they have the adrenaline rush to do that, bungee jumping off of like the closest cliff and getting that adrenaline rush, and that makes them feel anchored in their body. Regardless of whatever wild scenario it is or whatever other scenario it is, getting into that space of grounding and allowing your perception to shift. Okay? Let's see what else we have. We're going to start bringing out our companion cards now. We have Mindful, Groupthink, and we also have Winter as a companion card. Take care of your needs, which is quite literally what we were talking about with the bars needing to be filled. Okay, so Mindful, Groupthink. Let's pull that up first and let's talk about it. That specific card is in reference to making sure that you are aware of the effect that other people have on you. So again, we talked before about societal pressures, or even like the people around you that could be holding specific judgments towards dreams or potential goals that you have for yourself, and making sure that you are operating on your own belief, from your own authentic voice, from your own authentic center. Because groupthink is like that psychological phenomena where, you know, when you're in a big group of people, people tend to not they all tend to start thinking the same way, but also in the more extreme way. So if you're surrounded by a lot of people, for example, this is just shown in a lot of conformist studies, but or studies demonstrating conformity rather, where, you know, you'll have them, I don't know if anyone of you saw this video, it's very interesting, but where they're going to a doctor's office and you have one person, I don't want to go like too hardcore into it, but essentially the one person comes in completely unknowing. A lot of people come in completely unknowing, and or no, there's one person that comes into the office, doesn't really know what's going on. It's like a medical office is a waiting room, and there's a beep, and every time there's a beep, one person stands up and then they sit back down. It's very nonsensical, and it doesn't really provide any information. It's not like signaling for someone to go into the office to see the doctor. It's just every time there's a beep, one person stands up and sits down. And then more people start doing it. And then the new person who is not aware of the study at all starts doing it. So then even after the people who know of the experiment and understand what it's about, once they leave and they're filtered out, and it's just the new people that are filtering into the office, because it was a cycle, everybody else is standing up at the beep and they have no idea why. They just do it because everyone else is doing it. And so that's just an example of, you know, that's just like an example of conformity. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of it before, but it is very interesting. I wish I knew off the top of my head who actually conducted that study. There have been many other studies replicated like that. And for whatever reason, I feel like you have I just heard like a fight conformity thing. So for you with this card coming up, quite like, I'm getting the sense like when it's paired with Winter, take care of your needs, I feel like perhaps, like, you know, just the classic example of everybody having that 9-to-5, you know, job, or like whatever the job structure is in your culture, everybody else having a certain expectation for how much a person should work, and then you don't have that same expectation of yourself. It's almost like you need something different in your body or your soul. It needs something different. So I actually know of people who work for 4 hours a day for several days a week, and they still make a very decent living. And it's because of that's the type of, not only is it their field that they work in, but they tried really hard at like they had to put the dominoes in place so that they can live that type of life, because they knew that that's what their body needed. So perhaps for you, when you're charting your future and moving forward with the Six of Swords, perhaps you already know what you need. But if you are considering what you need, consider thinking outside the box a little bit. If you're still planning and if you're still drafting how you want your life to go, excuse me, then quite literally this can just be your wake-up call to say maybe what everybody else is doing just doesn't suit you, and maybe you can think about doing something else. Angels and spirit guides are going to be sending you signs and helping you. However you see signs in the universe, that's how spirit will communicate with you. Whatever your language of the universe is, that's how spirit's going to communicate with you to help give you inspiration for how to take care of your needs. You probably have a general idea already, I'm hearing, but perhaps you have trouble nailing the specifics. And those can be, those you can just craft those on the way as you try different things. But it seems like perhaps you just need to take into consideration your own well-being more, because a lot of other people don't. And if you're watching this video, I'm making the assumption, sorry if I'm assuming too much, but I'm making the assumption that you are more spiritually inclined, and a lot of people are not spiritually inclined. And I often find that a lot of times not a lot of times, most of the time, not even most. I would say, I was like trying to run two thoughts at the same time, and I went, and it crashed. So we are spiritual beings living a physical existence. And oftentimes I find that the typical work week, at least here in America, of like the classic 9 to 5, is not very sustainable for the human health condition, either physically or mentally even, or spiritually, because there doesn't really seem to be enough time in a day to take care of ourselves. So for some people that may work, and there's no shame in that. If you want to do the 9 to 5 grind, that's totally fine. Some people need that routine and that steady structure. Some people want to have that time structure routine. But others might require different needs. So this is your chance to take a look at that and see, what you do need. So you have the Wall with obstacles. You also have a Leap of Faith as your companion card. I'm ready to take a leap, angels. Thank you for doing it with me. So this energy coming in is really hot. So I'm going to actually turn on my air conditioner. So you'll hear a little bit of extra noise. I hope you don't mind, but I am sweating. I'm sweating, y'all. Dang. So with the Wall, obstacles, and Leap of Faith, this is quite literally Spirit asking you, can you trust us to help you take this leap of faith? Can you trust us in making sure that you get safely, that you land safely on the other side? So quite literally, it's almost like I hear that you're jumping to conclusions as to how this is going to work out for you. Whatever journey you're going on, like, they're not doing this to spite you. These obstacles aren't to spite you or to test you. Like, perhaps in a spiritual sense it's testing you, but it's also just like you're already resolved, so keep going. Like, everybody has obstacles that they have to deal with in life. And perhaps some people, you've studied different ways that other people have went over their obstacles. Some people climb the mountain, other people work their way around the mountain, and some people dig their way through the mountain. Okay, so take that leap of faith. With this leap of faith card, you're already feeling called to go or move about this mountain or this obstacle in a certain direction. So Spirit is saying, go with that. Go with that flow, okay? You have Sky Bridge, possibility for union. You also have Peaceful Warrior, Archangel Ariel. Thank you, Ariel, for helping me stand my ground with peace. This could be reconciliation with somebody that you are struggling with. It could be like a particular entity. It could even be making peace with the situation, a person, something. But with the Sky Bridge possibility for union card, there is a possibility to bridge the gap that's been created between two worlds or two things. So usually when I get this card, it's in reference to you as a person, and then like whatever situation or thing it is. But the angels are asking that you bring an energy, especially with Archangel Ariel present, they're asking you to bring an energy of peace to it. So basically just setting your swords down. Because sometimes when we are confronted with things that are uncomfortable, we want to pick up the swords and defend ourselves, and Spirit is saying it's not necessary to be on the offensive all the time. It's not necessary. I meant to say defensive, but Spirit says offensive. So it's not necessary, Gemini, to be on the offensive all the time. And also not the defensive either. Sometimes we just need to lay down our swords and accept the situation for what it is, and then offer that sense of forgiveness so that peace can be created. If it's somebody that has encroached on your boundaries repeatedly, and you feel the call to separate from them, that's totally okay too. But this possibility for union tells me that whatever situation, you can heal from this situation. I'm gonna say that depending on your situation, it's okay to not stay. I feel like for a lot of you, you're just mending something, either a relationship or your habits or something with a situation that you felt has been hurt. But once that's healed, it's just being peace until it settles, basically. You still have the opportunity to say goodbye. This isn't telling you that you have to stay in that situation. But I feel like you want to, because I'm feeling the pulls. My spirit guides are absolutely, no. Go back. You don't have to address it that generally. They said this is something that they want to bridge the gap with, and they want to be peaceful and forgiving with this through unconditional love, I'm hearing. So that being said, you also have open your heart. Archangel Chamuel. Thank you, Chamuel, for removing the barriers around my heart. And interestingly enough, this is at the bottom of your reading and is meant to be a companion card for hollow bone teachability. So let me bring up this card first. I do feel like that once you open your heart space and once you open your I just heard something about maturity. So perhaps you can use some of that maturity to help you open your heart, because it's almost like at this point I feel like you already understand that vulnerability is a strength, it's not a weakness. And perhaps you're realizing that your ego mind is kind of getting in the way a little bit. The ego mind is perfectly fine. We're human. It's a device that we have for a reason. But perhaps sometimes a little bit too much ego, just as too much spiritual, is sometimes a little bit too much. So that is a balance as well. And Gemini, we all know about our duality and balance, because we are just Gemini. Two parts of this, two sides of the same coin often is what you're able to see. So allow yourself to open your heart to the lessons that you're being taught, and also open your heart to the situations around you so that you can welcome in that healing, so you can welcome in that strength, because it's almost like you're pulling strength from, I'm hearing supporting sources or places that you wouldn't expect. So perhaps displaying that vulnerability is going to help call in more support than you realize. Okay, let's pull two more and then we'll get to your angel dice. You have joy. Oh, I just got that chills when I got this. Remember when I said that with the Ace of Wands, when the dragon was breathing on the wands and hatching from an egg, this new idea or this new adventure, and especially with your 5th house, it's coming up again. Whatever you feel inspired to do, this is joyful muse, inspiration. So whatever you feel called to, whatever you feel called to do, whatever you feel inspired to do at this time, even if it doesn't fully make sense, even if you don't really have a plan, this doesn't have to be something that makes you money. I really don't like that mentality of oh, is it productive of me to do this thing? Just do it because you love it. Do it because you love it, and add joy to your life, because it's called joyful muse for a reason. If it's something that you want to try, oftentimes I find that when I'm in the pursuit of new things, often I experience a much higher vibrational state. I'm more aligned with my soul, and I'm a lot closer with my guides than I ever have been. So when you're following those things that you want to do, then that is something. And I also just love that it's a master number 2. When you're master number 3. So with a 33, that's so 3s could be pretty important to you. I just love seeing double numbers, and that gets me really excited. That's my signs is seeing triple numbers and stuff everywhere, or double numbers. But you have as a companion card, focus your mind. Thank you, angels, for helping me to focus on my priorities. You could be somebody who's inspired by a lot of things, and I say dabble in everything, but focus on what you can move forward with, that you can build on, what's going to inspire you more. So I always like to choose things that I can grow from. So I like to choose, just as an example, you can choose however you want. I do feel like you're feeling called to a particular path, but focusing your mind and focusing your priorities so that you can actually spend time on these new fun things that you're feeling inspired to do. It doesn't have to be one particular thing that you focus on, but I like to narrow down, because I'm someone with a lot of passions. I always like to say that there's not enough time in a day for all 57 of my hobbies. So I have to carve out time in the seasons. Like a lot of my hobbies are rotational. But right now, obviously, my ferrets are a lifestyle, not quite a hobby, but I always say like my ferrets is like a big part of my life. And plants, that's like my main thing right now. Plants, my ferret babies, and like tarot and oracle reading have been my focus. But I mean, I love so many other things like crafting, crocheting, and writing, and all these other things. But there's time for it all, to dabble in it all. But to doing what calls for you, do what calls to you. Because for me, I like to focus on the passions that I feel are most inspiring to me at this current moment, and also something that I can grow from. So something that I can, like, as I'm doing it, I can keep being fed inspiration for it. Like, I always want to go bigger, I always want to go better, I always want to do this and that and the third, and I always want to like make so many changes to make it flourish and make it grow. So I love choosing things like that because I have a habit of wanting to watch things grow. You analyze it, journal it, however you want to do to determine what you want to focus on. But I do feel like for some of you, just need to focus on what lights you up and what brings you joy. Last but not least, we're going to roll the angel dice for you, Gemini, to see what we got going on with you. What are we parting? What's the lasting message we'll leave with Gemini? 150. Powerful opportunities are coming. They will present you with excitement and stability. Oh, I love that. I'm going to read it one more time. I always read them twice. Powerful opportunities are coming. They will present you with excitement and stability. So, oh, that's such a nice message to leave off on. But thank you, Gemini. That is your reading. Thank you for allowing me to channel this energy for you. And thank you to your spirit energies and angel guides and my spiritual energies and angel guides for allowing me to do this and for helping me feel this message strongly, because it's very inspiring for me as well. If this resonated with you in any way, please go ahead and like and subscribe and all of the things if you don't want to miss content from me. And liking really does help the channel grow, and it helps get this message across to other people. I post weeklies. Occasionally I'll post pick-a cards and collective readings and just whatever I feel spirit is calling me to do, or whatever I feel inspired to do. I'm launching a Patreon here very soon, and I'm very excited to share that with you. And I'm slowly introducing my ferrets on the channel, and maybe someday, if we're all into it, I can start introducing all of my plants too, because I just love showing off all of my babies in all of the different forms, little like fur baby, and also like my little viney friends. So I love you, Gemini. I wish you nothing but the best week, and I will see you next time. Bye.